Good afternoon, brothers and sisters.
Afternoon, Shifu.
How are you all today? Everybody good? Vesak Day is coming. Yeah. So today's topic is on Vesak. In a way, when we want to talk about Vesak, there's so much to talk about that. Although Vesak, as we know, is the celebration of three main things in the Buddha's life. Is everything okay? I see everybody looking around. Is the audio working? Everything okay? So we celebrate namely the Buddha's birth, his enlightenment, and his final passing into parinibbana. Yeah. But in a way, Vesak is the celebration of the Buddha's work. Yeah. Of what Buddhas do. And what do Buddhas do? Before I go into that, maybe we can invite the other participants to turn on your webcam. Unless you're in some secret facility. Okay, let me try to see whether I can. Maybe later, if I need to, I will turn on the whiteboard. So, what do Buddhas do? Generally speaking, we say the Buddha what do Buddhas do? We say the Buddhas do the work of liberating sentient beings, yeah, by showing the way to liberation. But when we think about that, then it's no longer just saying, "Oh, I want to liberate sentient beings," then I just go and liberate sentient beings. But rather, it includes starting off having the aspiration, yeah, making the aspiration to walk the path, and then starting the cultivation of the six perfections, the numerous qualities up to perfection, 6度万恨, all the various practices, and then reaching from the first asankhya kappa completion, attaining to the principle of emptiness, reaching first stage, second stage, third stage, up to seventh stage, completing the second asankhya kappa, and then furthering the practices instead of entering parinibbana, to further the practices 8, 9, 10, completing the Bodhisattva path, then further attaining to the equivalence of the Buddha's wisdom, and then Tanjeti, then Miaojeti, then Fo. In the past, I think this part I sometimes lump up the Tanjeti with stage 10, so I must make a correction. Yeah, actually after Tanjeti, then there's Miaojie, and then there's after stage 10 there's Tanjie and Miaojie. So then up to the point of residing in Tushita heaven, and then awaiting the conditions of sentient beings, which is all this period waiting for sentient beings condition. So before we even talk about the entering, of the womb, the birth of the Buddha, so much things has to be done, Yeah. So, but Vesak, we just celebrate after all this, we're only celebrating starting from the birth. And because we have limited wisdom, we only know the Buddha from the point of his birth, yeah, then his enlightenment to the passing. And really these three things is remarkable. Yeah. But from the suttas, the commentaries, we learn that the journey didn't start with the birth. Yeah. The birth, in a way, is the culmination of a much longer journey, starting from the point where he make the Bodhisattva vow, yeah, the vow of bodhicitta, to strive for enlightenment for the sake of liberating all sentient beings. And we could say that when the Buddha started off as an unenlightened Bodhisattva, at that point in time, he was very much just like you and me. Yeah. Don't. This is not what I say. This is what my teacher shared with us. Yeah. And later I found that his basis for saying this is actually can be found in the Sammei Sui Chan. Those of you who attend the water repentance puja, yeah, in the Xu Fen, yeah, it actually talk about this. Yeah. Sometimes when we think about the Chinese Mahayana tradition, a lot of Buddhists always ask me, 师父, how come Chinese Mahayana tradition has so much rituals? Yeah. Of course, this year we cannot have so much rituals because of the rising community cases. But oftentimes, Buddhists would ask me this. Yeah. I can't say whether it's especially so for Theravadan Buddhists, but sometimes Mahayana Buddhists also wonder, how come we seem to have more rituals? Yeah. But the so-called rituals, yeah, is actually comprising of a lot of teachings. Yeah. The trouble is we are not so familiar with the language, yeah, and we don't do the preparation work before we attend the puja. Yeah, we just jump straight in. Yeah. So it's like any uh, level 300 course. If you don't have the background and you go for a workshop, yeah, even if we talk about worldly subjects, if you don't have the prerequisites and you just jump in and join a workshop, yeah, and you do the exercise, the homework, people do, you also do. You see people do, you also do. But people do know, you don't know. Yeah. So similarly for the those puja, I personally don't really conduct any of those puja. Yeah. In part because in Singapore there are a lot of venerables, a lot of temples conducting those puja already. Yeah, I don't have to. You don't need one more monk, one more venerable, one more shifu to conduct. Yeah. But I tell you the truth, in part because I don't know how to do also. If we don't know, we must admit we don't know. Yeah. Yeah. If I really go and prepare, I can read the words, and maybe some of the verses I know the tune. Yeah. But I've always not been very inclined towards doing puja. But and I must also admit, in the past, I tend to be quite averse to them. Yeah. But later on, uh, after ordaining and learning more Dharma, I don't know whether it's because I somehow managed to learn more Dharma, or maybe, as some would say, some obstacles purified. Then when my teacher passed away, and we went to Taiwan for the funeral and the wake, Well, there were massive puja, you know, very long, like for one whole week. And somehow, during that period, all the different chants that I've chanted, I joined in, right? Most of them I have joined in before when I was a layperson. But when I was a layperson, I chant, I also don't know, totally blank, don't know what. Like, first of all, barely read most of the words. Secondly, even if I read the words, I don't really know the context meaning. But somehow, after 6 months plus of ordination, when I went for my teacher's week, when I went through the Lianghuan Baochan, I went through the Mongshan, everything. Yeah, suddenly everything makes sense. Wow, I was quite overwhelmed actually. That gosh, there's so much teaching, you know. Yogacara teaching here, Madhyamika teaching there, like all over, you know. Yeah. So my teacher shared with us that when we do this, let's say we Bai Yuan, yeah, and we recite the various Buddha's name, um, we should reflect how the Buddha in a long distance past, he was unenlightened just like us. But now after many eons, many eons later, many kalpas later, his statue is sitting up there and we are down here. He's enlightened already for a long time. He's already enlightened. We are still who we are. We still sama sama. He sama sambodhi, we sama sama. Also got sama, but don't have the sambodhi. Yeah, ours is sama sama. Sama putujana, not sama sambodhi. You can understand sama sama? Yeah. So Malay is a beautiful language, you know, because especially for Buddhists, Buddhists should have uh, very strong affection for the Malay language, whether it's Melayu, whether it's Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah, because there's a lot of Sanskrit inside. I mean, this is historical. I'm not trying to stir the pot or rock the boat, okay? This is just historical. Uh, so when we celebrate Vesak, um, we celebrate the birth, the enlightenment, and the final passing. But know that we have that potential also. Yeah, but we got to start somewhere. Yeah, we got to start somewhere. And when can we start? Yesterday? Tomorrow? Next year? No. Not that next year is too far away. Yeah. Not that tomorrow is too late. But anytime you make the aspiration, it is always now. If you start next year, then you have to wait for next year to be now. Then you can start. So it's always now. Yeah. You want to do your practices, you can only do it now. But I tell you, you want to do bad things, also only now. You want to do stupid things, also only now. You want to get angry, also only now. You cannot get angry in future. Future, you must wait until future become now, then you get angry. Yeah. You cannot get angry in the past. You can get angry with the past, but only now. Now is the only time we have. No other time. Yeah, no other time. So the question is, how do we want to celebrate now? How do we want to spend the now? Now. The now. So the now later. The now. But still, if now we say, a lot of now, if now we say, okay, for this Vesak, let us all have the aspiration to attain enlightenment. We can also do that. But maybe some of you may do it unwillingly. Some of you are like, Hey, but so it's good enough that I attend your talk, I support you. I'm afraid not enough people attend your talk. I see you quite poor thing. Now you still want me to go and walk the path. You know how long it is? Yeah. I haven't got my bonus, Now mid-year, the mid-year mid-year sale going to be cancelled already. Singapore mid-year sale, I've been waiting. Then I thought we're going to have a mid-year sale. Now don't have. Now I have to wait for Taobao. And then June is coming. Then a 6/6 sale is coming. Then now you ask me to make aspiration. Then later I'll feel guilty. You evil monk. Always make us feel guilty. No. But of course, I cannot tell you that I want you all to make the aspiration to attain Buddhahood so much. Yeah. Of course, I must say, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. It would be wonderful if we all can make that aspiration. Yeah. So let's just put that as a super long-term goal. Okay, super long-term goal. Yeah. So long that we just put it there. Yeah. Because every day when we recite 世常行菩萨道, actually we are putting a marker there. Yeah. But are we going to attain Buddhahood now? Now? You want also cannot. Why? Because the Buddha's teaching is still around. Yeah. You got to wait until no more Buddha's teaching. Then you can attain Buddhahood. Attaining Arahanthood, you can attain anytime. Yeah. If there's no more teachings and you attain Arahanthood, then automatically you are renamed as Pachika Buddha. Yeah. Actually, now my understanding is all the terms is just religious terms, Yeah. Depending on when you attain enlightenment, then you're given different names. That's all it is, Yeah. But even then, it is not that they are the same also. Because to be able to do it in your final birth without anybody teaching you, it's also very difficult. You just think about it. We don't talk about enlightenment. We talk about worldly skills. Yeah, worldly skills. How many of you managed to learn to ride bicycle on your own? Then all of you teach you. Bicycle quite easy. Yeah, bicycle quite easy. How many of you managed to learn how to ride bicycle without crashing ever before? No crashing before? Yeah. It's very similar, If you crash and crash and crash until one day you don't crash and you manage to ride, and then occasionally still crash, but you still try until one day you can ride, very steadily. Yeah. That process is like you start trying, and then you do stupid thing, you fail, you go to lower ranks, you crash, and then after that, you still try. And then you get reborn as human being, as Deva, and then you try until you stop going to lower realms. You succeed, you attain Arahant. Yeah. But to be able to do that, you must have perseverance. You must have, you must put in a lot of effort also. But still, what can we do now? What can we do now? Some of you have attended or are attending the Way to Buddhahood. It's a very wonderful piece of commentary by the late Ying Sun Dao Si. Yeah, he is. We are very fortunate, Actually, we are still considered very fortunate, although also not so fortunate. Fortunate in the sense that in our lifetime, we actually live in the lifetime of a great master who mastered the Tripitaka. Yeah. But even as we speak, in Myanmar, there are the one Pitaka master, two Pitaka master, and three Pitaka master. Yeah. In what sense? There are those who, in Myanmar, those monks who are able to memorize the whole Vinaya. I don't mean 5 precepts. Who cannot memorize 5 precepts? I mean the whole Vinaya text. Vinaya text is not just the precepts, and it's not just, don't think that, oh, Myanmar Theravada 227 rules. No, no, they must memorize the Vivanga part, the all the origin story of all Hamplang, no, not just the Patimokkha. Then there are those who memorize the Sutta Pitaka. Then there are those who memorize the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Then there are those who memorize Vinaya and Sutta, Sutta and Abhidhamma. Then there are those who memorize all three. Now there are still those who can do that. But it takes a lot of perseverance, a lot of effort. So what can we do? Yeah, we are very fortunate to be living in this time where there are still great masters who devote their life to doing all this. Yeah. I'm very thankful to my teacher because when I asked him for ordination, he just smiled. When I expressed my intent, he just smiled and congratulated me, and then he just walked off. He didn't give me a quiz, Later on, when my teacher passed away, some of the lay devotees told me that they also tried to ordain last time, and then my teacher asked them to memorize the Diamond Sutra before they can ordain. Asked them to memorize the Lotus Sutra. I was like, wow, hey. Wow, if my teacher asked me to go and memorize all that, I'm like, okay, so see you again. Yeah. And then my teacher brought me to meet various seniors, masters in Taiwan, including Venerable Yingshen. So I had the chance to have a glimpse of him. Literally have a glimpse of him. because somehow I arrived late. Yeah. Just assume it's my fault. Although it's not really my fault, but just assume it's my fault. Yeah. Why my fault? Because my Dhamma condition not strong enough. So as a result, the senior who brought me, somehow there were a lot of obstacles that morning. After ordination, the first batch, the first entourage with my teacher went off. Then the second entourage, there were a lot of delays. Then after that, the vehicle don't know go where. By the time we reached, my teacher has already finished chatting with Master Yingshen. Then when I arrived, Yingshen was sitting down there. By then he's very elderly and he's actually physically quite weak. Yeah. So I said, and at that point in time, first day ordination, I also don't know what to say. I go there, then the senior did. Think. Then after that, I think I can't even remember what we talked, what I talked to him about. I vaguely remember that he asked, that you are the one who ordained. Yeah, and at that point in time, I don't even know that he is he's the author of Miao Yinji, that he's the author of the Chen Fo Zhi Dao, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so Chen Fo Zhi Dao is by far in recent times, a very important text, in modern Chinese Buddhism. And I would say in Buddhism itself, rather important text. It summarizes the various paths. When it says Chen Fo Zhi Dao, sometimes, or way to Buddhahood, sometimes we look at it and we feel like, this is not for me. Yeah, I'm not ready to attain Buddhahood. Yeah, or we may think, I have a lot of defilements, so I'm not pure enough to read this. Just as I had a student long time ago, he had the aspiration to ordain. Then his mother don't agree. So I told him, bring your mother to come and see me. Yeah. I'm very garang one. Whenever people say the mother wants to see me, I say, come, let's sit down. I've been sitting down with mothers and fathers since secondary school. When I was a patrol leader in Scouts in secondary school, my patrol member, he was physically quite weak, so I wanted to train him up. And then he went and talked to his mother, and then he thought that he can use his mother to pressure me, so that I wouldn't give him so much push-up and train him so hard. And he must have thought that by saying that his mother wanted to see me, I would just back off, So then I said, okay, Ken, when, where? So I brought the whole patrol to his house, sat down with the mother, talked to her for maybe half an hour or 1 hour. And after I finished, the mother said, I leave my son to you. Oh, thank you so much. His son was like, so there and then in the living room, yeah, he immediately had to do push-up. Yeah, I must admit, while at that age, I had the good intent to try to train up the whole team, but I must admit, at that age, there's a bit of that ego that I wasn't aware at that point in time. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have expressed myself in certain ways. Yeah, but water under the bridge can only change now. Past cannot change, can only change now. So, so that student, back to the student, he wanted to ordain, so he brought his mother over. So the moment the mother came into the classroom, well, the mother went on and on about how his son is not suitable, And I'm quite a conversational person, right? Yeah. But I didn't have a chance to talk, His mother just rattled on, like come in then. Well, she went non-stop for almost half an hour, detailing all the different reasons why his son is not suitable. And basically, he was putting down his son, saying how bad his son is, how much bad qualities, and so on and so forth. And then at some point she ran out of bullet lah. So she said, then she basically had to stop. Then I just replied one line and said, Auntie, 不用担心，就是因为你的孩子有这么多问题，所以才要出家。没有问题就不用出家了。Auntie, don't worry. It's precisely because your son has so much problem. That's why he should ordain. Yeah. If he has no problem, he don't have to ordain. He's already enlightened. Yeah. But in the end, the only problem that the son has is the son is not ready. So the son cannot eaten by a tiger. So now married with 3 kids. So you know who you are. Not here in at the present moment. Yeah. But that student, I know him for many years. Yeah. But he's a nice boy. He's a nice boy. Now not boy. Now he's already late 30s. Should be late 30s already. Back then he was in his mid 20s when I first came back. Early 20s, mid 20s. Yeah. So so don't think that, oh, 师父, 成佛之道, the way to Buddhahood is not suitable for me because I have a lot of bad habit, I have a lot of defilements, I have so much bad qualities. Don't worry, I'll tell you the same thing. Yeah? It's precisely because you have so much bad qualities. That's why you should strive towards Buddhahood. If you really don't have bad qualities, you should be the one writing way to Buddhahood. Yeah. It makes sense, right? If you already know everything in primary school, then you don't have to attend primary school. It's precisely because you don't know much or everything about primary school subjects. That's why you need to study primary school. It's precisely because you don't know enough about secondary school subjects. That's why you need to go to secondary school to study. Yeah. Of course, in the academic field, there's also the issue of getting the paper. Yeah. Hey, I'm curious, me and Esther, why are you all wearing masks at home? Are you at home? No, oh, your attire looks very home. You're at home office. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean,
We are at the
taking
workplace.
outside lah. Hey, you also wearing mask. Huh? You're now high alert. Huh? How come I didn't know? Am I supposed to go? Huh? Now high alert. The virus can transmit through the webcam. Is it? Yeah, so the first reason why learning the way to Buddhahood is not an issue is because striving towards Buddhahood is not something that we should be afraid of. Yeah, not because you think that you are very lousy and whatnot. Yeah, as my teacher also say, you don't have to worry that you're not good enough, or that if you take up the Bodhisattva path and then you don't know the precepts, you can take up the precepts first and then you start learning. And you start to learn and train. But even more importantly, if you look at the way to Buddhahood, it actually is very interesting. For those who have gone through the way to Buddhahood, it starts with Hui Sanpao, right? The Sanpao, the Gongde, yeah, the three refuge, yeah, the merits, the value of taking refuge. Then after that, 五乘共法、三乘共法、大乘不共法. It never just by right, if you think about it, how come don't just jump straight into the 大乘不共法? How come don't just jump straight into Bodhisattva path? Yeah, right? We want to attain Buddhahood, ma. Just go straight. Yeah, express queue. Yeah, 直通车, cannot. Because actually, the way to Buddhahood requires you to fulfill the foundation first. Yeah. If you are still engaging in wrong view, yeah, that means you don't take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, in the sense that taking refuge basically means that you acknowledge that the Buddha is enlightened. You're not enlightened. You take refuge in the teachings. You may not be able to fulfill the teachings yet, but you agree the teaching. That right view is right view, wrong view is wrong view. That means wholesome is wholesome, unwholesome is unwholesome. Yeah. If you still don't agree with that, then quite naturally you cannot fulfill the 五乘共法, which is 人天乘, right? That means the path to human and heavenly rebirth, which comprises the 10 wholesome deeds. So if you cannot even do that, that means you disagree. Yeah, you willfully, consciously think that no such thing. Then how can you possibly attain Buddhahood? Yeah, because it means that you still want to engage in harmful acts. Yeah, that you think is okay. Yeah. So, and all the way to the 三乘共法, which is Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path, Dependent Origination. The way to attaining liberation as an Arahant or Pachika Buddha. And ultimately, 大乘不共法, the 菩萨道, Bodhisattva path. So the path itself actually is not simply about those amazing 6 paramita. 6 paramita is actually at the later stages. Yeah. But the 6 paramita is also not just done by the Bodhisattvas. The 6 paramitas are actually done by everybody. It's just that to different degrees. Yeah. Giving also can also be done by those under the 5 the practices, the Dharma common to the 5 vehicles, right? Correct or not? Yeah. Give the practice of generosity. It's just that it is not a mandatory practice, yeah, for enlightenment. Yeah. So you can attain arahanthood without having done much giving also. Yeah. The Buddha did highlight that you can do that, but when you attain arahanthood, the arahanthood will still be the same. But when you're a monk or nun, you will have difficulty with your resources. You go for arms round, then always come back empty. You don't do dana. And so that's to say that all the practices actually leads up to Buddhahood. But it must start with right view. If you have wrong view, then all the practices actually lead you to samsaric existence. Yeah. So then the question is, what can we do now? Still, we come back to what can we do now? So we can start off, ask ourselves, this Vesak day, and we already say, put down the long-term goal, right? Then next you ask yourself, within this lifetime, can you assure yourself, don't assure anybody, don't have to assure Sifu, don't have to go and worry about other people. Assure yourself that you can be confident that you can be reborn as a human or heavenly being. Make sure you are established in that first. Yeah, I think it's fair, right? Yeah. And in this case, right, I want to introduce something very worldly also. Very worldly. It's like retirement plan, right? Do you all have retirement plan? Have or not? Have. I don't have retirement because monastics cannot retire until the last day. Until the last day, you also don't know which day is your last day, right? So every day there'll be people who come at Shifu, can I have a consult? Shifu, my so and so is sick. Every day is yeah, on duty. But for lay people, you all plan for a retirement, right? So do you all plan to work until the very last day of your life? No, right? You plan to retire at some point in time, so meaning that when you retire, you stop working, more or less. You may continue to do services to the community, to society, but your livelihood doesn't depend on it anymore. You are set for life. So you can use the same approach to cultivation. You ask yourself, how much time you want to devote to accumulate your resources for your future life. This life you have already prepared in the past life, then in this life you continue to accumulate, then you should also have a retirement plan for next life. Assure that you have enough resources for a human and heavenly rebirth within this life. I think this is I like to think that is a more realistic goal. Yeah. But don't be limited to that. Yeah, I'm just saying that this is a minimum that we should strive for. So while you are striving for that, then you should consider human rebirth doesn't mean that you'll be happier. Yeah. So you must also do other practices to complement this path, so that you have enough resources, so that you have enough connection with the Dharma, and then when you get reborn as a human, you'll be in touch again with the community of Upasaka, Upasika, the community of bhikshus and bhikshunis, the fourfold community. Yeah. Otherwise, you get reborn somewhere, and then no Dhamma. Then how? Oh. So if we can do that, then we shine in this world, but not very bright, shine a bit, just a bit. Yeah. Oh. At least you will have a different kind of confidence. You have the confidence that next life settled already. Yeah. What happened when you know clearly that next life is settled? a different joy arise. Yeah. The joy that you know clearly, you don't have to worry about next life. Then your fear of death is lessened. You don't have to fear that if you die, what will happen? You know clearly, yeah, your future life is settled already. Then something amazing happens, which is that it's just like if you have the burden, again using worldly example, while you plan for retirement, but your mortgage is still, your house loan is still there, yeah. Then no matter how much money you have, you still have the house loan. So you have the unspoken sense of uneasiness. And your decisions on a day-to-day basis is somewhat affected by this burden of the house loan. In the same way, if you're unsure of your future life, you're unsure of your human and or heavenly rebirth, there's that bit of uncertainty. Yeah. Even though in this present moment you may be quite okay, yeah, there may be the unspoken anxiety, you know. But if you can be assured, you know clearly next life is more or less settled, then what's the advantage? That inner peace, that sense of ease gives you tremendous strength to be able to care for and help others. You won't have that gnawing feeling that you don't have enough. Yeah. Oftentimes we feel like maybe I don't have enough. Maybe I don't have enough. Yeah. But actually it stems from this uncertainty. Yeah. Then you can truly plan your life. Yeah. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? If imagine, let's say, by the time you're 30 years old or 35 years old, you practice until you're very clear already. Yeah. Then from 30, 35 years old onwards, it is like being free of debt, you know, right? Like if in a worldly way, if you have paid your house loan by the time you're 35, every single dollar that you earn is yours to keep to use as you need or please, right? In the same way, if you manage to assure yourself of your future life, you know clearly that you will be reborn minimally as a human, if not heavenly state, and that you will be able to be in touch with the Dharma again, your life choices would be drastically different. Yeah. Because then you can really look at the rest of your life and say, okay, from 35 to 70 years old. And it doesn't matter how long it is. You won't be concerned, hey, how long more? Because you know that you are settled already. Then you can really think, what do you want to do with your life? Yeah. While it's important to take care of our worldly finances, it's also important to take care of our spiritual path. Then you can really start to plan. Anyway, we like to plan, right? So you can do this plan. Okay. Yeah. As to how far you want to set your goal, that's up to individuals. But as a Buddhist, when I say Buddhist, I use it loosely. As someone who has come in touch with the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, as we celebrate Vesak Day, as someone um, who accept the Buddha's teaching, take up the three refuges, then the minimum we should work towards is at least the 5乘共法. Yeah, that means refuge, 5 precepts, and then the 10 wholesome deeds. Yeah, to work towards a minimum human and heavenly rebirth. Yeah. And of course, if you can, then um, um, from here, then it's a shorter distance to Sotapanna. Yeah, Sotapanna. Of course, if you attain Sotapanna, confirm won't be reborn in lower realms. That is confirmed. Then, if we can do that, I think our Vesak will be quite meaningful. Just nice 3 p.m. Shall we wrap up for the day? Unless any of you have very dying question or living question. Dying or living also can. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
普愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。